How's it going, everybody? This is Fris Negero, aka Burritos11 with RPG. Here to give you a little rundown on the Xbox 360e console. Talking with my good buddy Mr. Tyrant the other day, and he actually gave me shit about not knowing Dead Space 3 had co-op mode, and then I came back around and told him about the Xbox 360e console, and he came back to tell me he had no idea what that was, so I figured it'd be a little helpful to give you guys a little rundown on that today. As you know, Sony and Microsoft can't stick to one console alone. Sony initially released the initial PS3, they released a slim model, and then now they have a super slim model, and Microsoft quickly followed suit. Over here, we have the original Xbox 360 console everybody's used to, the white with my own faceplate. You don't have to worry about that. The white hard drive, standard, everybody knows this console. In the middle here, we have the Xbox 360S console. They kind of revamped it, slim model, touch controls instead of buttons for the power, as well as the eject button. And over here we have the Xbox 360e console. This is the newest console from Microsoft, released maybe about a month and a half, 2 months ago. And as you can see, they kind of changed the design a little bit from the S console, both in black, but on this one they decided to do a half matte black, half glossy black instead of all glossy. This here is the box for the new Xbox 360e console. Not much different than you saw from the Xbox 360s console. You still have the typical Microsoft green curves, 4 gigabytes the one I have. I had a hard drive already, but I unboxed everything already, otherwise I would unbox it for you right now. But everything comes in the box, your manuals, everything standard. Xbox 360 controller, we're used to that, nothing new there. A couple new changes to the accessories that do come in the box. The new audio video cables, still your standard red, white, yellow. However, the connection is now a 3.5 millimeter jack, male jack that goes into the back of the console. The other thing that's different, other than your standard power block, is the end that plugs into your system, which is now just one small solid connector instead of the huge bricky connector we're used to. As far as the console goes itself, design is a little different. You have it more rounded off shape, more rectangle, instead of it being concave or curved or anything like any of the old systems. On the front here, you can kind of see, how they have the half matte, half glossy. The buttons are no longer touch. 2 buttons that you have here on the console, your power button and your eject button is right next to it. Your standard ports for the USB, there's 2 on the front as always. Controller sync button and the disc tray. Nothing new there. Xbox 360 logo. On the Xbox 360e console, as you can see, still removable on the side. Still has space for your Xbox Slim hard drive, and it uses the same one as the S console. You can just transfer it over, which is what I did there. One thing I will say about the E console, the overall, as you can see on the matte black, very well ventilated now. That's basically a huge vent on the top, on the side, and bottom's just flat. And then on the side here you can see they added their fancy Xbox logo on the glossy part. Going to the back of the system for the connectors, as you can see here, that's where you'll be plugging in your new power cord. Still have your standard HDMI, and this is the 3.5 millimeter jack for the audio and video. Now this can be used one of 2 ways. You can use the provided AV cables and just use the audio connectors to plug into an external audio source, or you can plug in, say for instance a Turtle Beach headset, you can plug in the jack directly into the console and output the sound directly to it. Another way, which some people might have trouble with, you can also use a headphone splitter and have the audio put out to 2 different sources if you'd like. Your Ethernet port, USB ports, you have 3 on the back, making a total of 5. I don't really know why you need that many, but you have them. And then your Connect port. One of the main problems, as I just went over with the ports, the 3.5 millimeter jack, it does add a couple of levels of simplicity as to how you can output your audio. But one of my complaints is, since they did away with the old connector, as you can see, there's an optical audio output on the old connector for the 360, which the new system no longer has. It no longer has it directly on the console, nor is there a way to plug in this old connector to it to output to a digital or optical audio source. So if you have it hardwired to optical audio this way, you might have a little bit of trouble of doing it with the e-console. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the console now. As you can hear it booting up, you don't hear any fans coming on, nothing really groaning or whining or anything like that. As you can hear, it's a very, very quiet system, even whenever you're playing games, especially if you install them. It's like the system's not even on at all. Controller still syncs up the same. Controller still shows first player. One of my biggest complaints, it's just me, not a big deal, is the new power button. Because it's so small, the green ring turns on whenever any controller is connected, whether it be first, second, third, or fourth, and it only turns off when the controller does. So it really has no indication of which players are connected. Like I said, not a big deal, but I always like that about the systems. And it's, even whenever you hit the sync button, I used to like whenever the ring would spin around. On this one, it just merely blinks. Not a big deal, but just so you can know the complete ins and outs of the console. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed that video. Just to give you a quick rundown the ins and outs of the new e-console. You can kind of see that the Xbox has come a long way from the initial console to the S down to the E finally. You know, it kind of has that Xbox One real sleek look to it. So for those of you not getting the Xbox One on day one, looking for something to kind of scratch that itch, the e-console will definitely be for you. I'm glad I have it. I love all the changes they did to it, the ports, everything. It's great. I love it. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. This is Fris Negero, Rumble Pack Gaming. Like us on Facebook, Twitter. We can always use more followers. And like, favorite, subscribe, share with your friends.